Okay, let's go over here and look at the Moderna vaccine. All right. So, this paper is about an mRNA vaccine, and that's exactly what it is. And so this is the one from the company called Moderna. I think somewhere in here it says that, or else it's in the associated information. And so this is just the messenger RNA that codes for the SARS coronavirus spike gene, and it is being put in at different levels with the idea that these cells are going to make the spike protein, and then the immune system will make a response to the protein that the cells are making. Kind of like an infection, but without the danger of an infection. This is the idea behind it, and let's see if that works. So, all right, there is a supplementary appendix here as well. And so you'll need to look in there for the technical details of how they did some of these experiments. Other stuff, though, will be stuff that you need to look at online. So let's go through these. So in terms of the ethics, I think it's worth critiquing the relative ethics of these things. So now our experimental animals are humans, and so think about it. Think, is this an appropriate number of humans to include in here? Have they got balance? Are they going to make a vaccine that works for everybody or just for some people? Yeah, we just want to know exactly what this test is going to show. And then it looks like they've got 3 different treatment groups here that are getting different amounts, 2,500 or 250 micrograms of messenger RNA, or maybe messenger RNA mixed with lipid. And so, yeah, let's see what this does. All right, so go to the next one. There we go. Second one is going to be our first of the side effects ones. And so in this column, you will have the side effects after one vaccination. In this column, you'll have after the second vaccination. And so you can figure out which one is higher and which one has more severe side effects. And also, what you've got in here is a dose. You've got 2,500 and 250. And so for a lot of these, I think you'll see something like this, where 25 causes a little bit of side effect, 100 is more, 250 is more, and the height of this bar over here tells you the percentage. So if it goes all the way over here, that is 100% of people, of which it looks like 60% on this one at the bottom were mild side effects of pain, and the other 40% were moderate side effects of pain. So there we go. Then this is a interesting one. This is data that I think they go on to show in graphic form later, but if you actually want to see the numbers, they are here. So we're looking at antibodies, and we're looking at how much you can dilute the antibodies until you no longer get a signal, if I remember correctly. And so these are, yeah, actually really big numbers, but you tell me how big and what it means, because every test is set up a little bit differently. And convalescent serum means people who have got this, got over it, taking the antibodies out of those to see whether or not we've got the same levels or higher or lower. So that's the idea. Okay, and there we have a lot of numbers for you to look at in table 2. Then this is a good graph. So this is showing, so we've got for each of the doses is in a little box right here. And for each dose, we've got a different amount of antibodies. So total antibodies up here, reciprocal endpoint titer is that. And down here we have a virus neutralization assay, and so you can look at when we start to make neutralizing antibodies, which seems to be quite a while after we make regular antibodies. And you can compare the different doses, and you can see what happens. So on these, if they're inoculating at day 0, when do they get to peak antibody titer, and do they see the antibody titer falling off after that? That's going to be a good question. A little more. No, table 1 we've already looked at. Okay, we've seen those demographics. That's great. And what we want is, yeah, something to compare this to. That's right. If you want to look at the actual T cell data, now this is maybe a little annoying for someone like me, you actually have to look in the supplementary online appendix. That is the only way to find that information. They have not put it into the main paper. And so I'll let you figure out whether that means it was pretty good or just like very much expected. Here you go. This link right here, supplementary appendix, will take you to the supplementary appendix. And so, yeah, that's part of your job for this one is they're showing half the story. Tell me what happened in the other half of the story. That will be useful to know. And then at the end, now that we've looked at all of the major players as far as a vaccine that are available right now, I want you to weigh up the strengths and weaknesses of each of these. You know, if you could combine these things or combine the dosing of these, how would you do it? What's the best optimal way to get the most protection for the greatest number of people without causing any harm? Because you got to follow the Hippocratic Oath, you know, above all things or before anything else, you have to cause no harm is the idea. So let's see how you do with this one. It's an interesting paper and a good paper for our last paper, I would say. Thanks very much.